House resumes. But before the Deputy Prime Minister speaks, I want to let the members of the House know that there are rules. The Speaker is the arbiter of these rules. These rules are to be found in the standing orders. The main rule concerning the Speaker is the fact that when the Speaker makes a ruling, that is it. There are ways for members to deal with rulings of the Speaker that they are dissatisfied with. One such is to make a motion for the next meeting, but it is not to argue with the Speaker on the floor, and I'm putting every member on notice that this intolerable situation cannot be allowed to continue. Okay? It's very, very disconcerting that certain members feel that they can take all the liberties they want for whatever reason they feel. But you see, I have a duty to ensure that the business of the House is conducted according to the rules, the interpretation of which these same rules permit me leeway. And they continue to say that when the Speaker makes a ruling, whether it be on the rules or any other matter, the Speaker's ruling has to be adhered to. And unfortunately, I think it is my duty to insist on this. So members are on notice that the little, I don't even know what to call it this morning. I wouldn't like to see it happen this afternoon, so I'm asking members to cooperate. If they feel that they're not satisfied with the Speaker's ruling, they have avenues that they can explore. But it's certainly not going to be one where they stand and argue with the Speaker. It's not going to happen this afternoon, and I'm putting members on notice for that. Whatever steps need to be taken shall be taken. Let me make that abundantly clear to all. And it's no use members going or sending their lackeys on radio to threaten me. I've had enough of that. I will not be threatened. I will do my work according to the rules. Okay, so they needn't write on Facebook, needn't send me messages that they will do this and do that. Okay? It's not going to work. Thank you. You may continue, please.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, whereas by virtue of Section 3(1) of the Loans Act, Chapter 6405 of the 1990 revised laws of the Commonwealth of Dominica, the House of Assembly may by resolution duly passed authorize the Minister for Finance to borrow money from approved sources or guarantee loans to statutory boards or public corporations for the purpose of financing general development purposes in any foreign currency or currencies. And whereas the government of the Commonwealth of Dominica has concluded negotiations with the World Bank for a financing facility in the amount of 17,400,000 special drawing rights RDR, equivalent to Eastern Caribbean $67,114,285.71, comprising of 3,500,000 special drawing rights loans and 13,900,000 special drawing rights in IDA grants. And whereas the government of the Commonwealth of Dominica and the International Development Association have agreed to enter into an agreement whereby the government of the Commonwealth of Dominica will contract a credit facility in the sum of 3,500,000 special drawing rights, equivalent to 13,500,000 Eastern Caribbean dollars. And whereas the sum not exceeding 3,500,000 special drawing rights, equivalent to 13,500,000 Eastern Caribbean dollars, is required to assist the government in restoring agricultural livelihoods and enhancing climate resilience of the farmers and fisher folks affected by Hurricane Maria. And whereas these funds are to be used to provide assistance to crop and livestock farmers, fisherfolk, and producer organizations affected by Hurricane Maria for the restoration and revitalization of the agricultural sector in Dominica, be it resolved that in accordance with Section 3.1 of the Loans Act, Chapter 6405 of the 1990 revised laws of the Commonwealth of Dominica, this Honorable House authorizes the Minister of Finance to borrow by means of credit a sum not exceeding $3,500,000 special drawing rights, equivalent to $13,500,000 Eastern Caribbean dollars on the following terms: interest 0.75% per annum, commitment charge 0.5% per annum, repayment 50 semi-annual installments commencing August 15, 2018, grace period of 10 years. 2028, repayment of 50 semi-annual installment commencing August 15, 2028, and a grace period of 10 years. Second.
Seconded by the Speaker.
The motion is now.
I move he seconded. So
Yes. Oh, you're going. Oh, you're now going to. Oh, okay. Okay. Go ahead.
Madam Speaker, Section 3.1 of the Loans Act, Chapter 6405 of the 1990 revised laws of the Commonwealth of Dominica, amended by Section 4 of the Loans Act, Act Number 4 of 1996, authorizes the Minister with responsibility for finance to borrow money or guaranteed loans from approved sources on behalf of the government for the purpose of financing general development and for other purposes in any foreign currency or currencies by resolution passed in the House of Assembly. Madam Speaker, Hurricane Maria caused extensive damage to Dominica's economy. The agriculture and fishing sector were amongst the most affected sectors and suffered high damage and losses, severely affecting the livelihood of the farming community and affecting the country's ability to feed itself. Government took immediate action to assist the farmers and fisher folks, as every attempt was made to restore agricultural production in order to meet domestic food requirements. The assistance took the form of supplying fertilizers, seeds, seedlings, and financial support. Much of the financial support was provided through the World Bank-funded program, which saw eligible farmers receiving cash grants from the government. Madam Speaker, the government of Dominica has sourced additional funding from the World Bank to further contribute to restoring agricultural livelihoods and enhancing climate resilience among farmers and fisher folks. The World Bank has approved financing in the amount of $17,400,000 special drawing rights, equivalent to Eastern Caribbean $67,114,285.71, comprising of $3,500,000 special drawing rights in IDA loans and $13,900,000 special drawing rights in grants. Madam Speaker, the financing package is expected to cover the following. 1, to provide support for recovery of the production capacity of small and medium-sized, as well as commercial-oriented farmers through provision of A, inputs, tools, and material for the replanting and restoration of crops, and B, technical and advisory services and training to support adaptation of technology and use of climate-smart practices for increasing diversification and climate resilience in the agricultural sector. Madam Speaker, the interventions will also provide for procurement of inputs and material for livestock farmers, fisher folks, and boat builders, investment support to livestock and small ruminant farmers, beekeepers, and poultry farmers to restore damaged infrastructure to climate resilient specifications, support the restoration of fish supply through repair and construction of boat building facilities, provide technical assistance for development of more productive and climate-resilient systems, to build agro-businesses capabilities among small to medium-sized crop and livestock farmers and fisher folks, training of extension officers in climate-smart agricultural practices, restoration of essential public service such as propagation centers, central livestock farm, regional agricultural offices, training centers, and silviculture centers, reconstruction and rehabilitation of eco-trails, capacity building in project management, contribute to development of integrated management information systems for the agricultural sector, support efforts to develop a fisheries community insurance model, support the establishment of project implementation unit within the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, as well as the implementation support team. Madam Speaker, this resolution being presented is for the loan component of the financing provided. The loan is consistent with government's debt strategy and is being provided on concessionary terms as follows. The loan amount, 3,500,000 SDRs, equivalent to 13,500,000 EC dollars. The interest rate is 0.75% per annum. The commitment charge, half of 1% per annum. The repayment, 50 semi-annual installments commencing 15 August 2018. A grace period of 10 years. Madam Speaker, 15 August 2028. Madam Speaker, the resolution is before the House for consideration.
The motion is now before the House for debate.
It appears that we have consensus on both sides of the House for this measure, Madam Speaker, and I really want to congratulate members of the government and the opposition side for seeing the wisdom in this resolution, Madam Speaker, and for, without any debate, to allow the government to proceed in haste in restoring the life and livelihoods of our farmers and our fishers of this country, Madam Speaker.
I shall now read the resolution. Be it resolved that in accordance with Section 3.1 of the Loans Act, Chapter 6405 of the 1990 Revised Laws of the Commonwealth of Dominica, this Honorable House authorizes the Minister for Finance to borrow by means of credit a sum not exceeding 3,500,000 special drawing rights SDR 3,500,000 equivalent to 13,500,000 East Caribbean dollars on the following terms. Interest 0.75% per annum. Commitment charge 0.5% per annum. Repayment 50 semi-annual installments commencing August 15, 2028. Grace period 10 years. Those in favor? Aye. Those against? The ayes have it. The motion has been passed.
Down front, please. Down front, please. The lights. Madam Speaker, I move the second reading of the bill shortly entitled the Custom Amendment Act 2018, sorry.
Seconded, Madam.
Madam Speaker, the amendment to the Custom Act that is now being proposed is part of government action to enact counter legislation in Dominica. As a member state of CARICOM, government gave the commitment to pass a set of legislations that was agreed upon by the CARICOM community. Among other things, the set of laws to be passed place emphasis on sharing information among various border control agencies and other specified security agencies in CARICOM. The Custom Amendment Bill 2018 sets out the obligation to provide enhanced cargo information. Madam Speaker, the following is a summary of the bill. Clause 1 provides for the short title of the bill. Clause 2 amends Section 2 of the Customs Act by inserting definition for the terms advanced cargo information and cargo reporters and impacts. Clause 3 repeals and replaces Section 8 of the Customs Act and details the kind of advanced passenger and cargo information that must be provided in order to deal with the issues of counterterrorism. Specifically, Madam Speaker, the new Section 18 required the master of the vessels, aircraft, and cargo reporters to provide Customs Department with cargo information in advance of arrival of the vessel or aircraft in Dominica. The master of a vessel or aircraft will also be required to provide the Customs Department with cargo information prior to the departure of the vessels or aircraft from Dominica. Clause 4 of the bill introduced a new section, that is Section 18 to the Customs Act. This new section deals with the use of sharing and retention of advanced cargo information. It states how long cargo information should be retained and specifies who that information can be shared with. Clause 5 of the bill amends the Customs Act with the insertion of a new Schedule 6. The Schedule 6 is in 4 parts. The advanced cargo information to be submitted and the time within which it must be provided is specified in Schedule 6. The approval of this legislation will, among other counterterrorism legislation, will bring Dominica in compliance with its commitment that have been made and, more specifically, Madam Speaker, improve the security framework in this country. Madam Speaker, I commend this bill for consideration of Parliament.
The bill is now before the House for debate.
Opposition has given up. It is clear, Madam Speaker, the opposition has given up. And I want to commend them for supporting this measure, which is really and truly, Madam Speaker, a counterterrorism measure. And as set out in the introduction to this bill, Madam Speaker, it formed part of a strategy that has been crafted by CARICOM to fight extremism and to fight acts of terrorism, not only within Dominica, but within the region and greater field. And, Madam Speaker, I must say it is part of a regime of interventions, both from the legal standpoint and, of course, from the security framework within CARICOM to fight extremist groups, including ISIS, among others. And, of course, this package, Madam Speaker, also includes the anti-terrorism proposed measure before this Honorable House, which has been read the first time. So, Madam Speaker, I'm happy that this measure has been approved by Parliament, and silence is yes. I must say consent, is yes, Madam Speaker.
The bill will now the bill will now be put before a committee of the whole House to be considered clause by clause. with several amendments. The question is that the bill with the amendment be adopted by the House. You have something? A few. A few. Shall I say a few? A few amendments. Question is that the report of the committee on the bill be adopted. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it.
Madam Speaker, I move that the bill shortly entitled the Custom Amendment Act 2018 be read a third time and pass.
Seconded.
It has been moved and seconded that the bill shortly entitled the Customs Amendment Act of 2018 be read a third time and passed. Those in favor? Aye. Those against? The ayes have it. The bill will now be read a third time.
Customs Amendment Act 2018.
The bill has been read a third time and passed accordingly.
Madam Speaker, I move the second reading of the bill shortly entitled Advanced Information System Act 2018.
Seconded, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, Advanced Passenger Information System is an automated system established for aviation and maritime operators that has the capability of enhancing border security over the region by supplying law enforcement officers with data on passengers and crew members prior to arrival and departure from CARICOM member states, the United States of America, the United Kingdom, and other countries. The importance, Madam Speaker, of being able to identify persons who pose a potential risk to security cannot be denied in this fight against terrorism. The member state of CARICOM, at the 19th meeting of the Legal Affairs Committee held in September 4, 2014 in Trinidad, approved the Model Advanced Passenger Information Bill. Madam Speaker, at the 29th meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government of CARICOM held in February the 26th to 27th, 2018 in Haiti, it was agreed that as part of CARICOM counter-terrorism strategy, member states will table terrorism legislation in their respective parliament by July 4, 2018, and pass legislation related to advanced cargo information and advanced passenger information systems accordingly. This bill, Madam Speaker, seeks to establish a system to facilitate the provision of advanced information or data relating to passengers and crew members of an aircraft or vessel which is expected to arrive in Dominica. This bill also seeks to establish protocols for the sharing of advanced passenger information for the purpose of identifying persons who may pose risk to security and for connected purposes. The minister responsible for oversight of this act and who is responsible for making the necessary regulation is the minister responsible for immigration. The Chief Immigration Officer is named as the competent authority responsible for administering the Act. It is necessary, Madam Speaker, that the information collected be communicated to CARICOM impacts to ensure coordination of efforts in the fight against terrorism. Madam Speaker, the outline of the bill is as follows. Clause 1 provides for the short title of the bill. Clause 2 is the interpretation clause in which a number of terms used in the bill are defined, including terms such as advanced passenger information. Madam Speaker, vessel is also defined and encompasses a ship, boat, yacht, including amphibious vessels, which can be used by persons to travel across international waters. Clause 3, Madam Speaker, is the application provision which provides that the bill would apply to any aircraft or vessel expected to arrive or to leave Dominica. Clause 4 provides for the competent authority who will be the Chief Immigration Officer. Clause 5 provides for the duty of the captain, master, or agent of the aircraft or vessel, which is expected to leave Dominica, to provide advance information to competent authority and the CARICOM implementing agency for crime and security impacts. The information to be provided is set out in the first schedule to the bill, and it's expected that the thorough collection of information relating to the flight or voyage, including scheduled departure and arrival dates and times. The first schedule also includes, Madam Speaker, the collection of detailed data relating to each individual on board the aircraft or vessel. The timelines within which the information must be provided is set out in the second schedule to the bill. A person who fails to comply with this section will be guilty of an offense, Madam Speaker. Clause 6 requires the competent authority to verify advance passenger information provided under this bill. Clause 7 addresses a situation where aircraft or vessels arrive in Dominica to make a technical stop, or a stop required by law, or a stop authorized by the competent authority, and provides an exception to the requirements for timeframes as outlined in the second schedule and found in Clause 5. In these circumstances, Madam Speaker, the captain or agent would have to provide the information immediately upon landing or berthing or anchoring. Clause 8, Madam Speaker, provides the power and duties of the competent authority. The competent authority will, among other things, is required to coordinate with impacts on all matters relating to advanced passenger information system, Madam Speaker. Clause 9 provides for the use and the sharing of advanced information. Impacts is empowered, Madam Speaker, to use the advanced passenger information system to conduct screening against a watch list of crew members and passengers on aircraft and vessels. Clause 10 provides for the retention of advanced information for a period not exceeding 3 years from the time of travel of the crew member or passenger or the aircraft. Clause 11 empowers the minister to make regulation to give effect to the principles and provision of this bill. Clause 9 provides for the amendment to the schedule of the Act. Clause 13 would make consequential amendments to the Immigration Passport Act, Chapter 1801. Madam Speaker, this bill certainly signals the commitment of this government to adhere to all regional and international obligations. I therefore, Madam Speaker, commend this bill to this honorable House for debate.
The bill is now before the House for debate.
Madam Speaker, I rise to make my contribution on the Advanced Passenger Information System Bill of 2018. It seems that members of the House are a bit tired and nobody has stood up thus far to debate any other resolution or bill passed.
Speak for yourself. Speak for yourself.
And I hope that the silence that has persisted thus far will continue as I make my short presentation, Madam Speaker. This bill, permit me, Madam Speaker, with your leave to refer to my notes. I did extensive note on the anti-terrorism bill, so I'm going to take the opportunity.
Yes, you have my permission.
Thank you. This bill should have been brought to the House at a much earlier time than now, Madam Speaker. This bit of legislation has its genesis in the preparation for Cricket World Cup 2007, and I'm sure we remembered, which was hosted within the nomenclature of 9+1 geographical space, and I did my research. It is instructive to note that reference to +1 was a reference to the Commonwealth of Dominica, though we did not have any games played on island. We became an integral part of the elaborate security architecture that provided coverage for the games. Madam Speaker, the laws passed to support the security architecture for the games were called the Sunset Legislation. It ceased to exist once the last ball was bowled at the finals in 2007. Had these laws been kept on our books, we would be by now significantly improved in the security of Dominica and the region as a whole. We have become too insular in what we do as a nation state, and we have failed miserably in seeing the bigger picture. Madam Speaker, the question to be asked now is, does the Commonwealth of Dominica have the requisite communication platform to host the receipt, the storage, and secure dissemination of the information that it will receive once this bill is passed and operationalized? And I'm sure, Madam Speaker, many of the listening public did not understand anything the Minister of National Security read. This is pure parliamentary jargon. The local average man do not understand what you just said. You did not go in depth with the bill, you just read what was already written there. We have just heard from the Minister of National Security that the Dominica Police Force is closing the gap in preparation for delivery of the necessary services in this hurricane season. As usual, the minister failed to tell Dominican citizenry, being vague as usual, how wide is that gap he speaks of. Are we to believe that the communications platform required to facilitate the operation of the advanced passenger information system is already in place? Does the skill nets needed to manage that system exist within the security services of Dominica? And these are legitimate questions that we're asking. And I'm sure you understand the need to ask those questions. I ask this because in the past 18 years, Madam Speaker, the Labour Party administration has done, it tells us that Dominica does not have the capacity nor the capabilities to manage a number of national institutions established to help keep us safe. For instance, Minister of National Security, there's a lack of capacity and capabilities in engineering, so Public Works Department is disseminated and replaced with no-bid contract entities to carry out construction and repairs to our roads, Madam Speaker. Lack of capacity and capabilities at the registry to share records of deaths to the Electoral Commission. Lack of capacity and capabilities at the Immigration Department to share records with the Electoral Commission to determine which citizens have been out of state for more than 5 years to assist in cleansing the electoral list. There's a lack of capacity and capabilities within the health system, so we must now depend on our Cuban friends to provide us with healthcare services. Lack of capacity and capabilities within the Dominica Police Force so as to provide professional service to residents and visitors on the island. There's a lack of capacity and capabilities at the Fire and Ambulance Department to provide us with safety services at airports and other areas in Dominica. Lack of capacity again and capabilities at the Office of Disaster Management to provide Dominicans with professional and reliable services. Actually, Madam Speaker, there exists a lack of capacity and capabilities within the current administration to provide the nation state with the requisite management to keep us safe. Too much lack of capacity and capabilities, and so we are asking on this side of the House, are we prepared with the capacity and capabilities once this bill has been passed? Madam Speaker, my other concern is that without the assurance of the minister with responsibility for national security that the necessary intelligence and security communication platform is in place, then how does he assure us that the very sensitive and personal information that would be shared with the world be secured and safeguarded without compromise and falling into the wrong hands? Okay? Since this bill is so necessary for regional and economic integration, why is the government bringing this bill to Parliament only now? Remember, Madam Speaker, this draft bill was prepared and presented as a harmonized bill as far back as 2006. Why is it only now coming before this House? Madam Speaker, I said that my intervention would be brief. Therefore, this cannot do nothing, anything, lack of capacity, administration should really demit office. No, for they have compromised the security of Dominicans, and I firmly believe that. The region, the wider world, with their inefficiencies. They have been neglectful, you have been neglectful, and grossly derelict in the discharge of your duties, and therefore cannot be trusted to continue serving us. Madam Speaker, in the face of all of these incapacities, in the face of all of these incapabilities, should I support this bill, Madam Speaker? I thank you.
Let's hear your response.
Madam Speaker, I rise to give a short contribution on the bill before the House. Madam Speaker, what we're doing here is simple, as other members of the House have told you before, that this regime and this electronic infrastructure have been tried and tested in the region before. As the Honorable Senator said, that this was a structure that had been put in place for Cricket World Cup. And a lot of pundits around the Caribbean at the time felt that we should have kept this structure in place. But I figure governments didn't have the wherewithal, both financial and technical, to probably implement the system on a long-term basis. And perhaps that is why it was not kept after Cricket World Cup. But I believe, Madam Speaker, in this electronic age, it will greatly enhance not only movement in the Caribbean, but inter-security relationships will be enhanced by this bill, Madam Speaker. It will allow us to have information at any member state instantaneously as soon as persons literally enter the union. Because right now, Madam Speaker, we know we're moving closer and closer, not only in our small OECS space, but as CARICOM. And this is maybe one of the pieces of legislation that will advance that process even more, even make us one truly nation state, really, of different parts, really. And this is really what the bill is all about, Madam Speaker. I don't think we need to make fair weather of it, Madam Speaker. And when we speak of, the Senator went through a litany of issues, Madam Speaker. But when we came to power, Madam Speaker, we met Jurassic Park. The Windsor Park was devastated between 95 and 2000, Madam Speaker. And it is this government, Madam Speaker, it is this government, Madam Speaker, that cause our citizens now to be able. You know, I am trying to respond to the Senator, to educate the Senator, Madam Speaker. And as I was saying, it is this government that allow its citizens now to go to the Windsor Park National Sports Stadium and sit in comfort to watch international test cricket. These are things that we have done, Madam Speaker. It is this government, Senator, who enabled night landing in Dominica, Madam Speaker. Okay, Madam Speaker? So, Madam Speaker, I could go on and on and on to educate the Senator, Madam Speaker. Lest the Senator doesn't know. The Senator is from a Western community, Madam Speaker.
Order, please.
The Senator is from a Western community. And the Senator knew that before this government came to power, it would take us an hour and a half to get from the capital city to the second town of Portsmouth, Madam Speaker. Now you can drive in comfort from Roseau to Portsmouth through St. Joseph, Madam Speaker. These are advances made by this government. Madam Speaker, there was... Madam Speaker, as far as electronic usage goes, Dominica is one of the most advanced countries of the OECS as far as electronic usage is concerned. You know, the average Dominica owns 2 smartphones, Madam Speaker, one with Digicel and one with Flow. Our communication systems and our communications providers in the companies of Flow and Digicel are some of the most advanced companies as far as electronic provision is concerned in the OECS, Madam Speaker. So we are way advanced as far as electronic development is concerned. And that could only be possible because we have the government in power who have created the enabling environment so that these things could happen, Madam Speaker. So I want to educate the young Senator, Madam Speaker. I forgive her, she's young, maybe she's just schooling in political history, Madam Speaker. But it is clear beyond argument, honorable members, that the kind of development that this country have seen over the last 18 years is unsurpassed at any other time in the history of this country, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, with these few words, I do not need to go any further, but to support the measure before the honorable House, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, I rise to just say a few words in support of this very important bill. Madam Speaker, the senator from St. Joseph made a number of observations. I would perhaps class them as sound bites, addressing what she highlighted, which I presume was the theme of what she was contributing to this House. What she says was lack of capacity. And she included the bill coming to the House at this time as an indication of lack of capacity. Madam Speaker, I would respectfully submit and inform this House and the Honourable Senator from St. Joseph that her comments demonstrate her lack of understanding of this bill. Madam Speaker, the previous bill, the immediately previous bill to this one, the Customs Amendment, those who observed, and I trust that those on the opposite bench were included, realized that it was
Order,
in fact
please.
a bill similar to this, except that it was cargo information. That cargo information, advanced cargo information, being inserted by way of an amendment to the Customs Act. Exactly the same. This advanced passenger information bill, Madam Speaker, is the sister, or the brother, if you will, or the cousin, however you want to genderize it. And, Madam Speaker, the bill that the opposition created or was seeking to create mayhem over, the anti-terrorism bill, was also part of the suite of legislation that CARICOM and the OECS have decreed needs to be passed as part of the region's responsibility, both in terms of our local or regional and our international responsibility. So, Madam Speaker, it is not a question of why is no Dominica passing. This is part of a regional move to bring in these bills. Yes, it's true, there was a version of this back in 2006, a rush version for a particular purpose, as has been indicated, the World Cricket. But we are now dealing with a more comprehensive suite of legislation to address a particular problem. We have learned much since 2006, I hope. And as the Honourable Senator for Cassie Bruce has indicated, with the advent of CBI, therein, Madam Speaker, the opposition should realize they crave power, they crave the CBI. They will need this legislation to assist them. So they should support it wholeheartedly. And they should also support the anti-terrorism bill that they're creating mayhem about, Madam Speaker, because it is a bill which will not impinge upon them because they are law-abiding, honourable men and women. And they have no intention of engaging in terrorist activities. Whilst I'm on that, Madam Speaker, I need to make the point and make it here now that those who wish to make recommendations and comments, the bill has been given its first reading only today. The government has listened. People say they want time. Those who have comments and recommendations are urged to forward those written recommendations and comments to the Honourable Attorney General by no later than the 15th of July. If and when such comments and recommendations are received, they will be considered appropriately, and if appropriate, they will be taken on board. But that is the date, Madam Speaker, and I say it here and I say it now, that it go out far and wide. Institutions, members of this House, schoolmasters, children, members of the priest, pastor, union leader, like one union leader who wrote to the Attorney General claiming that the anti-terrorism bill was impinging or would impinge on individual freedoms and constitutional rights, without pointing to one provision that would do so. I await all the recommendations, and they will be considered. But, Madam Speaker, what I am happy to know is that we in this House appear to be united in accepting that we, as part of the world community, must put in place legislation to ensure the security of this beautiful island, Dominica, of our region and of the world. We may argue about particular passages, particular provisions, but it seems, perhaps, I think somebody said that some people are learning, but it seems, Madam Speaker, that slowly, perhaps, it is dawning on all of us, and particularly members of the opposition, that security is essential. Madam Speaker, this bill, the Advanced Passenger Information Bill, is a bill simply to ensure that information that is necessary to further enhance the security of all of us and all of those within this region and all of those who pass within this region, whether by sea or by aircraft, are provided an adequate level of security and safety. Madam Speaker, on that note, I wholeheartedly commend the bill to the House.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Just quickly to say that when we debate bills in this Parliament and the issue of capacity to implement the provisions of the legislation arises, it is not something to be scoffed at. It is something to be looked at and to be taken on board as constructive observations and criticisms. And I'm a bit surprised, quite frankly, with the reaction of the other side to the observations from Senator Mrs. John-Baptiste. Because in reaction to those very constructive comments, we hear the Attorney General using his presentation to say that there was a bill before Parliament scheduled for 3 readings, and which agreement was reached on having only one at this time to permit more public discussion and understanding. And this is a bill that the opposition, meaning the members of the parliamentary opposition, was trying to create mayhem about. Was trying to create mayhem about. And he says mayhem is putting it politely. Mayhem, Madam Speaker, refers to violence or extreme disorder, chaos. And he says indeed, mayhem refers to confusion, to havoc, bedlam, violence. And that is what he says the parliamentary opposition was intending to create over the bill, where the only observation that the parliamentary opposition has made has to do with the protection of civil liberties and fundamental human rights under the Constitution being covered under the broad sweep of an act in an overbroad definition, that all of the citizens of Dominica ought to be concerned about. So, Madam Speaker, I really take exception to these opportunities that the other side uses to jump on what is their DNO trajectory, to bash the opposition, to talk about, as they're fond of, to talk about mayhem, creating mayhem. What mayhem? What mayhem? What disorder? What chaos? What really are you talking about? What? I didn't hear you. I want to hear what you said, I didn't hear you. Oh, okay, all right. You're backing down. That's all right. So, Madam Speaker, we today have been very constructive in this House. We have brought in the debate, in the true spirit of what parliamentary debate should be all about, matters that the government should take note of, be aware of, in its ongoing quest to continuously improve, to get better, and to do a better job on behalf of the citizens of the Commonwealth of Dominica. And so, on this side, we fully align with the comments in the presentation of Senator Mrs. John-Baptiste. And again, just for the record, we made absolutely no moves at all with respect to the anti-terrorism bill, which we consider to be necessary for the Commonwealth of Dominica, and we have said so publicly. The only issue that we have is with the definition of terrorist act, and we will be, in line with the invitation issued publicly now by the Attorney General, we will be making specific written recommendations on the wording of particular sections of the Act that deal with definition of terms. We'll be doing that. But to come here, and we can talk as well, AG, because we learned this morning, not this morning, we learned a few days ago, that this is not a new matter for the other side. The committees of attorneys general in CARICOM have been discussing it. We've learned that the ministers of national security in CARICOM have been discussing it. We learned that the heads of government in CARICOM have been discussing it, and it's in fact harmonized legislation. The only people who didn't know anything about it are the people of Dominica. The only people who didn't know anything about it are the people of Dominica, on whom it is supposed to have effect. So now here's the problem we have. We don't live in the other countries that are sharing this harmonized bill. We live here in Dominica. In these other countries that are sharing the harmonized bill, we're not aware that the government side refers to its opposite numbers, its parliamentary colleagues on the other side of the parliamentary divide, as terrorists, or their political organization as a terrorist organization. So they can deal with a harmonized bill of that nature. Here in Dominica, you're going to have a problem because you've already telegraphed your intentions as to how you want to deal with individual members of the parliament. And you have a piece of legislation, and you want to arm yourself with a piece of legislation, style terrorist, anti-terrorism legislation that will allow you to come after us like Al-Qaeda, come after us like the Taliban, which you have referred to us as, like Obama goes after Al-Qaeda and so on. You've said those things.
Order, please. Order,
You have said
please.
those things.
Order, please.
Madam Speaker, with those one or two words, and recognizing the wide-eyed member from the Portsmouth constituency that side, I will leave it right there for right now. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, I want to just close this debate on this very important measure. I had in my hand, Madam Speaker, a pen, almost like a marker, to make some notes when Senator John Baptist spoke earlier on the leader of the opposition, Honorable Lennox Linton. And clearly, Madam Speaker, it's one thing for somebody to write something for you. The other thing is to appreciate what was written for you. Madam Speaker, the member for Senator Monell, John Baptist, mistress, made a number of points. She made a very valid point as to the integrity of the information to be shared, how it's going to be kept and protected. A very important point. Is it valid? Very valid point, yeah. But, Madam Speaker, I will make reference to some of the outrageous comments she made just now. Except to say, Madam Speaker, that going back to Cricket World Cup 2007, I know the author of the material that was given to Senator Monell. At the time, Madam Speaker, I was part of the security apparatus as a minister at the time. And we met most times in either Jamaica or Trinidad. So I can speak about that, Madam Speaker. Once she made reference to advanced passenger information, Madam Speaker, and there not being a system in place to share such information, she's not right. Madam Speaker, impacts was established as the implementing arm for security matters for CARICOM around that time. And a communication center was set up in Barbados, which is still, Madam Speaker, in existence. What is happening, Madam Speaker, is that advanced information is being shared by all member states, but there's no legal obligation on some member state to obligate member state in a timely fashion to share that information to the intending borders. And Madam Speaker, just to just one the member for the opposition, and the members on the other side. But I was out of state in Barbados myself. I just returned on Sunday, and I've been listening to the debate. And I can say to you, Madam Speaker, the position held by the opposition has caused tremendous concern, regionally and internationally. I, for the past year and a half, as the Minister for National Security in Dominica, is the chair for the Council of Ministers for National Security and Law Enforcement of CARICOM. So I can tell you, Madam Speaker, I'm privy to a lot of information. And while we're taking this thing in a flippant manner, as a joke, some of us, but in truth and in fact, as the AG rightly said just now, that it's a package. It's a package. And Madam Speaker, what impacts did on behalf of CARICOM member state was to come up with a strategy, Madam Speaker, to counter terrorist activities on behalf of CARICOM member state, working in concert with our international partners, namely, Madam Speaker, the United States, the European Union countries, among others. And, Madam Speaker, CARICOM, through impacts, as the leading nerve for security matters for CARICOM, arrive at an action plan with 5 critical objectives, Madam Speaker, which we, as a member of the global order, by a particular time must conform to, or else, Madam Speaker, there are consequences to be had. And let me just catalog them for you, Madam Speaker. And the 5 major pillars of the strategy that CARICOM has actually forged on our behalf, Madam Speaker, working in concert with our international partners. 1, Madam Speaker, preventing violent extremism. Violent extremism. I am not sure, Madam Speaker, what is hoopla about. I am not sure why there's a concern about the definition of terrorism. Terrorism is terrorism, Madam Speaker. If you have no intention to terrorize and to cause mass casualty in any form, why are you so concerned, Madam Speaker? Why are you so concerned? And that's the question that should be asked. Madam Speaker, part number 2 of this action plan, which the anti-terrorism bill must be part of, denying terrorism the means and opportunity to carry out the activities, Madam Speaker. 5, Madam Speaker, disrupting extremist and terrorist activities and movements in CARICOM member state. CARICOM member state. 4, Madam Speaker, improving preparedness for terrorist attacks. And 5, Madam Speaker, responding effectively to terrorist attacks and promoting a culture of resilience. Now, this culture of resilience is important. But I'll tell you something, Madam Speaker. You spoke, I listened to you. I wanted to make notes. But listen, and you learn something. Listen, you must listen and also read. Madam Speaker, we have formed, Madam Speaker, the one-dimensional view of resilience. Resilience must not be understood, Madam Speaker, as being proactive to mitigate against matters brought about by climate change and natural disasters. But, Madam Speaker, a bomb, Madam Speaker, as we saw in September 11th, can kill more people at one time than a hurricane, Madam Speaker. And that in itself, Madam Speaker, you must be able to build resilience against these things, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, firebomb too. Madam Speaker, the actual fact is, Madam Speaker, as of 2013, Madam Speaker, there has been an increase of terrorist activities in the Caribbean member state. There are member states, Madam Speaker, that have produced ISIS fighters, Madam Speaker. And we have to understand the implication of our action. Because, Madam Speaker, we cannot stand here and say that we're not affected by ISIS and extremism. We have to be careful that our ports and our countries are not being used as a transit point, 2, or as rest spots, Madam Speaker, for terrorists. Because we have seen tremendous improvement in modern technology and communication. And it's very likely that somebody can stay anywhere in the world and, Madam Speaker, to enable, to facilitate by financial means or by other material means terrorist activity. So I'm not sure why the members of the other side are scared about, what they're scared about. And Madam Speaker, from the national standpoint, Madam Speaker, you must penalize and create an offense for persons who call public places, be it the court, be it the financial center, be it the ministerial building, and to say there's a bomb on a plane, or a bomb in the ministerial building, or a bomb at the House of Assembly. If that person is caught, that person must be dealt with and sent to jail. Large one, Madam Speaker. That is the reality of the situation. Okay? So, Madam Speaker, now I'll tell you something. You cannot take it, because I can tell you plenty of things there. Be careful with that, because I don't do that, I don't do that. So be careful with me. So I can tell you about bomb makers. I can tell you. So my dear friend, I'm from Mao, and I can point my fingers on the bomb makers inside there. So you and I are partners. So be careful with me, my friend. I have a book on all the fellas, the bomb makers. Understand? So be careful with that.
Order, please.
But I'm talking about the dangerous bombs now that can cost life. So I'm not sure what connotation you want to put it that, Madam Speaker.
What
Madam
kind of
Speaker,
bomb?
And to say, Madam Speaker, Senator John Baptist, Mistress John Baptist, Senator Mrs. John Baptist, she made a false claim about the fire service. Madam Speaker, let's get the facts right. We were struck by Maria, no fault of ours. But I can say to you, before Maria, Madam Speaker, and after Maria, we have 7 health districts in Dominica. And we had acquired 7 new ambulances for each health district. Now, Madam Speaker, added to that, we procured 3 additional Toyota buses to be retrofitted, Madam Speaker, so that the busy areas like Portsmouth, Marigot, and Granby could have had more than 1 ambulance. Now, Madam Speaker, Maria struck, we had 3 of those vehicles actually had mechanical issues. But, Madam Speaker, I can say to you, with the addition of the 6 ambulances from the Chinese government, we have a record high, Madam Speaker, of ambulances to service the health centers in this country. Those are the facts, Madam Speaker. Those are the facts. So we now have, Madam Speaker, we now have in Granby more than 1, in Portsmouth more than 1, and in Marigot we come in there. In terms of appliances, fire appliances, just before Maria, we spent almost $2 million to buy a brand new truck for the airport in Melbourne, Madam Speaker. We now have an additional appliance for the first time at the Canefield Airport. And then I'm saying to you, Madam Speaker, that we are going to construct a brand new fire station in the second town of Portsmouth, Madam Speaker. As I speak to you, Madam Speaker, we have actually, in the last financial cycle, actually provision was made to procure a brand new fire truck for Granby, Madam Speaker. And now, what we're doing, we're going to actually, in this new financial cycle, procure, Madam Speaker, a brand new fire truck for St. Joseph, Madam Speaker.
Where
So, the senator, I'm not sure where she's from. So, Madam Speaker, in terms of capacity, Madam Speaker, I'm saying to you, Madam Speaker, it's important, therefore, when you come to this honorable House, to get your facts and get the facts right. Madam Speaker, I'm calling on the opposition, therefore, to lead in this discourse in educating the public on this anti-terrorism bill. I have listened to a number of persons calling and making statements, expressing their sentiments on this intended measure, and they cannot outline which section, up to now, Madam Speaker, that's important to know, which section that suppresses Dominicans' fundamental rights and freedom. They cannot tell you. They cannot tell you which one. So, Madam Speaker.
I'm afraid I have to stop you. You preempting the things.
Okay, Madam Speaker.
You have to cut that there.
Point taken, Madam Speaker. I'm not going to do like Senator Isaac and fight with you. I'm not able at all, Madam Speaker. Point taken. So, Madam Speaker, he came to fight. He came to fight, Madam Speaker. And I was a fast bowler, and I used to swing the ball. But I really preferred to bowl straight balls. So we gave them a away swinger this morning. And only did the first reading. So the fellas trying their best to cause the trouble in the house. They're trying their best to cause the trouble in the house. But we're going to use now Senator Thomas Fountain. Senator Thomas Fountain, you are very sensitive. You are more sensitive than the leader of the opposition. You get vexed for simply hearing the word Sudan. So behave yourself. Well, Sudan, nothing wrong with Sudan. If you want to Sudan to look for your roots, nothing wrong in that. We applaud you for that. So you are told that your ancestors are from Sudan. You went to Sudan. I can't. That's you. Nothing wrong in that. So
You have 3 minutes left on your.
I'm not sure why the acting prime minister is vexed about that. You went to Sudan. You went to Sudan. So, Madam Speaker, I am saying to you, Madam Speaker, going back to Senator Thompson Fontaine, a doctor, yes, yeah, my friend, I know him a long time, yeah, and he work hard for his stuff. You're a professional, yes, but he must be a professional at all times and act like one. I'll tell you why. Because, Madam Speaker, one thing when you're doing research, you can be a participant or you can be an observer. But I observed this morning, Madam Speaker, he was clapping when something was being said. The other was to celebrate. But he was vexed. He was very quiet. So I'm asking myself, why is Senator Thompson Fontaine so grumpy to today? So, as a social scientist, I said to myself, he must say something. Why the guy is so vexed? And so, even myself, relax. Even myself, I myself, you can get vexed, you can't beat me, you know. I myself, Madam Speaker, I was happy for Senator Mona John Baptist. I clapped too, but he never clapped. So the question is, why he never clapped? Why he never clapped? Okay? So you got economics this morning there, and he did not clap. So Madam Speaker, this matter, all of us at some point go on a different tangent. But it's too sensitive. Madam Speaker, this
You have
measure,
1 minute left.
The minute is over.
Your 20,
over, Madam
20
Speaker.
minutes you have
Yes.
to reply.
Yeah? No, like cool, man. Madam Speaker, this measure is timely and highly appropriate. And we call on the opposition to behave as adults and support the anti-terrorism bill. It's good for you, it's good for me, and it's good for all of us, Madam Speaker. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
This concludes the debate on the legislation before us. I now put it to the House that it has been moved and seconded that the Advanced Passenger Information System Act be read a second time. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. The bill will not, oh, you have to read it, yes, go. I'm in a hurry.
Advanced Passenger Information System Act 2018.
You know, the bill will now be committed to a committee of the whole House to be considered clause by clause.
Madam Speaker, let me say it again, Madam Speaker. I know all of us want to go. My mic was off. Listen. Madam Speaker, I move that the bill shortly entitled Advanced Passenger Information System Act 2018 be read a third time and pass. Move faster.
Seconder.
Madam Speaker, thank you.
It has been moved and seconded that the bill shortly entitled the Advanced Passenger Information System Act of 2018 be read a third time and pass. Those in favor? Aye. Those against? The ayes have it.
Advanced Passenger Information System Act 2018.
The bill has been read a third time and passed accordingly. Before the acting Prime Minister says his words for his motion, I just want to advise the members that we have some refreshments available for them upstairs, and also to thank the staff of the House of Assembly who always work very hard. Our stenographers, I definitely won't forget them anymore. The GIS personnel, our police officers who always do a human service as it relates to security, and everybody else who, our gentleman there who is making sure that we get everything recorded. And members yourselves, I'm thankful that we had a reasonably good evening. I thank you all for that, especially since I'd like to have a good sleep tonight. Thank you so much, everyone. All to you.
Madam Speaker, I believe that this session of Parliament was very, very good for the people of Dominica, Madam Speaker. The two resolutions passed, Madam Speaker, which will provide for the continuation of our housing development. As we said, Madam Speaker, this money is from the World Bank and the IDA. It's really just it's a significant amount, but it will just complement what the government has already been doing, the amount we've spent, and what we're spending so far on housing. On the issue of agriculture, Madam Speaker, we need to thank our farmers for having gone back into the fields very quickly and begin production to feed our people. There's great excitement out there, Madam Speaker, for agriculture. And we'll speak a little bit more about that in the next couple of weeks when we come to debate the budget. But, Madam Speaker, we believe that these two instruments would augur very well for the continued development of our country. In that light, Madam Speaker, I really, really like to thank the World Bank and the IDA for having entered negotiations with us and to make those financing available for us in record time, something unprecedented at that level, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, they continue to be with us to offer us technical support and technical advice to ensure that we can make a success of this. We do thank, Madam Speaker, especially in agriculture, our consultants who've been assisting us in preparing and putting the framework for the money, Madam Speaker. And the member for Salisbury can laugh at the farmers if he wants. He can join Danny Lugie and laugh at the farmers. Being from a farming community, I would expect him, Madam Speaker, to be more supportive of measures to boost the sector, Madam Speaker. So you can join Danny and laugh at the Salisbury farmers or laugh at agriculture if you want to. Madam Speaker, but we believe, Madam Speaker, that this session augured very, very well for the people of Dominica. The two last measures, Madam Speaker, seek to protect us and to make us part of the international community. Madam Speaker, the morning started off a little bumpy, very, very bumpy. As you know, Madam Speaker, there was a plan afoot. It was announced, it was pronounced. Men on microphone announcing, come down to Roseau. Come down to Roseau, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, it was a little bumpy, but we ended up smoothly towards the end, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to thank all those who made this session what it was, Madam Speaker. Your staff and the staff of the various ministries who prepared the various documents, Madam Speaker. Shout louder now. You can't shout louder than that. So, Madam Speaker, with these few words, Madam Speaker, I wish to submit that this House be adjourned sine die.
Speaker.